What's up, my name's TechNobo here for Troubleshoot and welcome back to another video. So currently cryptocurrency is on the rise yet again, and mining can be incredibly profitable, especially if you live in an area with cheap power or you already have yourself a very powerful gaming PC setup. In this video today, I'll take you through the very basics of getting yourself set up and mining cryptocurrency on your own computer, talking about the positives and the negatives. It's a good place to start. Maybe if this video turns out well, I'll carry on making a series of this, which you'll find more videos down below if I do. So before we get into mining any kind of cryptocurrency, there's a couple of things I need to go over. One, there are many different kinds of cryptocurrencies. Mining on each different platform can be more or less profitable, such as mining, say, Bitcoin directly. You'll earn practically nothing if you're trying to mine Bitcoin off of your PC. Something you can earn profit from is mining something like Ethereum, a cryptocurrency altcoin, and then trading it to something like Bitcoin, or even trading with other people still in Ethereum, which I think the new Ethereum NFT craze has got something to do with the markets being on the rise yet again. Now, of course, people have their opinions about NiceHash, and mine's a little bit negative. They were hacked into in December 2017, all of the money was stolen, and they've been paying it back slowly over time. Currently, I don't think I'm owed anything from them anymore. I was owed about $70 or $100, and got paid that back over quite a few months to years. I think they paid out the last few cents to me the other month. Opinions about the platform aside, it's a good place to start and probably has some hardened security since this happened back in 2017. Basically what NiceHash does is you can mine a plethora of currencies on their platform, whichever one's the most profitable for you. They'll collect the money, take a small fee, and then pay you out in Bitcoin into your NiceHash wallet when you're done. Basically, wallets are just used to identify you and how much money you have on the blockchain, and you can use it to trade with other people. If you mine using something like NiceHash, they'll have a wallet set up for you that you can trade out of later on, but if you're going to be mining different altcoins, do keep in mind that you may need to set up your own wallet at some point if you're not using something like NiceHash that sticks them all together. So to put it in short, mining one currency isn't the most wise. Jumping between them or picking something that's profitable for you for a while is a good idea. Seeming though I mentioned this project, before we get into downloading NiceHash, let's see what other kind of currencies are available and are profitable. Since NiceHash was hacked, I haven't been mining at all, but I do still have lots of experience from back then, and it does carry across to now as not too much has changed. A website I used to use quite a lot was what2mine.com. This is just one of the few sites that you can use where you can punch in your current setup. I've selected a 1080 and 1080 Ti from Nvidia as I have both of those cards, and down here I've set the cost of my electricity to 0. After clicking calculate, it'll spit out a list of currencies that I'll scroll down to in just a moment. Basically, when I mined back in 2016-17, I bought a 1080 and 1080 Ti for which they paid for themselves and a lot more. So currencies can be extremely profitable, especially if power is cheap or you're not paying for it at all. Scrolling down on what to mine after punching in what hardware I have, you'll see a bunch of info over here. If I were to use both my 1080 and 1080 Ti to mine for 24 hours straight, I would get somewhere around this amount of money back. As you can see, the revenue dollar profit column over here says I'll get about $7.93 if I were to mine Ethereum for 24 hours straight using both my 1080 and 1080 Ti at full power. Scrolling down on the list, you'll see a couple of different altcoins here, but you'll often see this little face appear. As you can see, NiceHash ETH. If we scroll down further, NiceHash Kaku Cycle, NiceHash Kapow, NiceHash Kakatu 31, Beam v3, Kakatu 32, Zhash, Neoscript, etc. are all under the NiceHash bracket over here. All of these ones listed with NiceHash next to them can be automatically mined inside of NiceHash depending on which one's the most profitable on your rig, which is a nice feature of NiceHash and what makes it a really good platform to mine on. Of course, if you do find another platform that you like to go with, that's great, but in this video, I'll be mentioning NiceHash a lot just because they're one of the most well-known providers. Let's say that NiceHash has this currency as their highest profiting currency and they don't have anything else. You would technically be losing out on 40 cents a day if you mined for 24 hours straight with my setup of a 1080 and 1080 Ti if you weren't mining Ethereum itself. But the thing about mining these other currencies is that you'll need to download mining software and set yourself up your own wallet either on the internet or by downloading a wallet client yourself. While NiceHash does have positives, it does also have negatives in some regards as well. I spend quite a bit of time mining with NiceHash, but I also spent a lot of time mining different cryptocurrencies and altcoins and trading them back to Bitcoin later on. Of course, if you were to have something like a 3080 over here, you'd see you'd probably be earning quite a bit more. Let's calculate. And if you were to mine Ethereum with a single 3080, you'd be earning $9.68 plus minus per 24 hours. Of course, if you weren't paying for electricity. If you had a monster setup with a couple of these things, you could be earning quite a bit. If you bought yourself 5 3080s, you'd probably be earning around $48 a day with this current rate. Something you should keep in mind is that this doesn't stay constant and it isn't guaranteed. This is just a very rough estimate based on the rough power and the rough rate at which you can earn rewards by mining the currency. It is pretty accurate, or at least it was a couple of years ago when I mined. This video is only going to be focusing on setting up and getting NiceHash to work. If you'd like to learn about mining altcoins, do let me know and I'll probably get around to making some videos, maybe even on trading. So for the sake of this video, we've now decided to use NiceHash to mine cryptocurrency. It is a pretty good place to get started, though I do recommend expanding if you're more tech savvy. Simply head across to nicehash.com and in the very top right, click the login button. When you get to here, simply click sign up and you'll be creating yourself an account. I of course already have one, so I'll be signing in with it here. Something I would highly recommend as well is activating two-factor. This platform was hacked previously before, and even though two-factor would have done nothing to help you, it is a very, very good idea to set up a two-factor on your phone or something like that, just to keep your account extra safe. After logging in, you'll see something like this. As you can see, I'm still owed $66 from when I mined a couple of years ago. After you get to nicehash.com/my/dashboard, all you have to do is click go to rig manager and then click download miner or add ASIC. Of course, after you click through the tour here. There we go. Now you'll see a couple of different options. We have NiceHash QuickMiner for Nvidia only, NiceHash Miner for AMD, Nvidia, and Intel, NiceHash OS, which will probably get you a little bit more power by dedicating your PC completely to mining by installing a custom operating system, and of course connect your ASIC device, which is a hardware device designed specifically to mine a single currency or a single type of currency, which can be incredibly profitable, but can also be incredibly expensive to start with in the first place. And these devices that you buy specifically for mining a certain cryptocurrency become outdated. Unfortunately, they also become paperweights, meaning you'll earn practically next to nothing for using them, and eventually electricity will overtake the amount of money that you're actually earning from them. Anyway, I'll be downloading NiceHash QuickMiner as I have an Nvidia graphics card in my computer. On this page over here, you get some information about it, and there are two methods over here mentioned if you have issues while using the program. Many antiviruses detect Bitcoin miners as they're often bundled with malware, but of course if you're downloading a Bitcoin miner to use yourself for your own profit, you'll have to go ahead and add an exception in your Windows Defender or antivirus if it comes up with an issue, and of course you'll need to restore the files if they get deleted by an antivirus of sorts. With that aside, I'll click I understand and click go to GitHub and download. This link will also be in the description down below, and when you get to here, all you need to do is click download installer here. After doing this, simply open up the installer, click yes, and you can see NiceHash QuickMiner download and install. I'll leave it as stable, create desktop shortcut, and click run after download. I'll click download and install, and the download will then begin. After it's done, I can click OK, and as you can see, my antivirus is already losing it. I'll click advanced options and click exclude from detection, then ignore. Okay, there we go. Now we see this over here. Invalid or no mining Bitcoin address set, please enter your NiceHash mining address here. To do this, all we have to do is head over to our dashboard, click the mining tab, and then click mining address. So I'll head back to NiceHash over here, close this notification, and I'll click mining address in the top left. As you can see, we're already on the mining tab. Then I'll click copy, and I'll paste it into this box over here, selecting all the text, pasting it in, and clicking OK. Then I'll enter a name for my worker, which I'll call it, say, test PC. Then we have a couple of tabs over here. Auto start, would you like it to start with Windows, error handling, tips and tricks, rig manager, and OC tune. I'd only recommend overclocking if you know what you're doing. It can be quite dangerous if you push it too far or you have inadequate cooling. Anyway, I'll click OK. As you can see over here, important, you can control NiceHash QuickMiner through your context menu. Right mouse click the NiceHash icon on your Windows notifications taskbar, view the following picture as an example. So I'll look down at my taskbar and you can see NiceHash over here. I'll right click it and you can see speed, however many mega hashes I have currently, game mode, which I can activate to disable the miner whenever I get into a game, OC tune, and settings down here. If I click show options, we'll get back to the screen over here. not too much that we can do. By clicking again, we can click settings and you'll see CPU mining. If we enable this and ignore it in our antivirus, it should start mining using our CPU. But I'll turn this off as CPU mining is incredibly inefficient and will only generate a lot of heat, eat a lot of electricity, and earn you basically nothing in comparison to GPU mining, which is the only thing I'd recommend you do currently. Of course, depending on the type of cryptocurrency, some of them are CPU only, meaning that you do have a chance of earning money, but I'd recommend sticking to GPU mining for now. You can, of course, learn about different things in your own time. Now, that's basically it for this. If I were to click speed at the very top, a page would open with information about my mining rig. As you can see, I've got a GeForce GTX 1080 Ti and 1080 running at 100% load, and we have a bunch of info over here. The longer that this runs, the more we'll be earning, of course. So currently it appears to be mining Dagger Hashimoto, which is just the algorithm that it's using to mine a certain kind of cryptocurrency. If we have a look at the very top, we'll see current actual profitability per 24 hours. I haven't been running this for a lot of time, so it's not going to be too accurate. It'll only start to be accurate after about an hour or so. Currently, it predicts that I'll earn about $1.18 per 24 hours of running both of these graphics cards at 100%, which is pretty inefficient in my opinion. If we refresh the page, it might update, but it'll probably take quite a bit of time to update fully. As you can see, it's already gone up to $2. As you saw on What to Mine earlier, it predicts we'll earn about $6 a day, so leaving this for some time would probably end up somewhere around there. Is $6 a day profitable enough for me to actually run my PC 24 hours a day Bitcoin mining, especially with South Africa's energy crisis? Well, for me, probably not, but for you, maybe. So, of course, I'm going to be using my PC for other things. I'm going to click the Stop Mining button next to both of these over here, or of course, I can right-click the icon and click Exit to close it completely. I personally won't be mining, and I won't be mining using this program. So of course, this NiceHash program was designed specifically for mining on Nvidia graphics cards. What about AMD and CPUs? Well, let's head back to the mining tab, click Download Miner or Add ASIC, and I'll be downloading the standard NiceHash miner over here. This program is something you're probably more used to seeing. It has a nice big window with a lot of information on it. I'll download the installer and open it up. Ignoring the installer and download through my antivirus yet again, we'll see this. I'll click through these, wait for it to install, and exclude the miners as I keep getting pop-ups from them in my antivirus of choice. Of course, depending on your type of antivirus, and if you have one at all, you may receive thousands of pop-ups or maybe just a few. Regardless, now that the installation is complete, I'll leave it as run and click finish. Eventually, you'll see this over here. I had to manually run it again using the icon on my desktop, but I'll read through the terms of service and accept when I'm happy, read this disclaimer, accept when I'm happy, choose language, next, and eventually you'll see this over here. I'll click login and then proceed to log in with my NiceHash account. I should also be prompted by two-factor, which I am. And there we go. Now it's starting up on my computer. I may get a few more pop-ups, which I am, and it'll start downloading the actual miners that it hasn't got currently. Once again, we'll probably be doing a lot more clicking if we have an antivirus. I think for now, I'm just going to temporarily disable it. There we go. I've paused it for half an hour, so we shouldn't be badgered by it. Login performed successfully. Feel free to start mining. Awesome. So, somewhat similar to the previous program that I installed, we've got a big start button, and it'll mine using our GPUs and CPU, give us a current profitability, and an unpaid balance over here. Hovering over devices, we can turn devices on and off, for which I'll be disabling my CPU, and I'll leave both of my graphics cards on. On the benchmark tab over here, we can choose to benchmark different cards to see a rough estimate of what we'll be earning, and eventually on the final tab we have plugins where we can update certain miners or install more currencies if we'd like. I'll go ahead and update these just because why not? And maybe I'll install a couple of these because why not as well? There we go, I've installed all of the plugins. Let's head over to the benchmark tab over here and let it benchmark all of the currencies that we can mine on my computer. I'll leave the CPU on as well, just because why not? After clicking Start Benchmark, it'll run through all of the currencies and algorithms that we have and see what we get. I can expand the window to turn off certain benchmarks if I want it as well, and see what kind of programs we'll be using to mine. So I'll leave it open and we'll see what kind of results we get. I'll click Start Benchmark, and it will begin hammering our computer, earning us nothing, but it should give us a good estimate of what kind of results we can expect from the hardware on our computer. My CPU is pinned to 100, and so should my GPUs be at the very bottom over here. Let's leave this going and see what we get. As you can see up here, failed to apply MSR mod, hash rate will be low, so it is probably a very good idea to right-click and run the NiceHash miner as admin instead of just launching it up. If you get to this point, you can of course close all of the programs and launch it again, right-click, run as admin. But for me, I won't be, as I won't actually be mining using my CPU at all. And it seems that my CPU is just mining, so I'll go ahead and turn this off. Right, so some time has passed, and eventually now we've reached a point where we're just mining. You can see the last benchmark over here no longer says benchmarking, it says mining. Right, so I'll go ahead and head up to the very top, and I'll uncheck this over here, and uncheck this over here to stop benchmarking on everything. Let's expand these and see what kind of results we got. As you can see, we get different speeds for all of these different programs, and for the most part you can ignore these. What we're going to be focusing on is BTC per 24 hours. Of course, some of these failed, and if you wanted to, you can try again. But having a look at this, the most profitable is currently Dagger Hashimoto using the T-Rex program over here or Phoenix program. Of course, if you would head across to the dashboard and just hit the plus to start mining with one or both of these checked, you'll probably be mining Dagger Hashimoto if you have my setup because that's the most profitable for you. Benchmarking is only really for your curiosity and will only really benefit you for that. And as you can see over here, CPU mining using my AMD Ryzen 9 3900X 12-core processor that has been overclocked to 4.15 GHz is only going to earn me about this much every 24 hours of running. How much is that? Well, heading across to Google and searching for 0.50 940 BTC to USD, I'll be earning 55 cents per 24 hours of CPU mining, which is incredibly inefficient, both for producing heat, electricity usage, and of course it's earning me practically nothing, so little that I'll be spending more on electricity and hardware wear and tear than what I'm earning from it. So should you CPU mine? Probably not. Why is CPU mining so inefficient? Well, because there's dedicated hardware that you can buy, such as Antminers and things like that, those ASICs that we touched on earlier, and those basically dominate this market. So with all of that aside, now that we've got things benchmarked and we've got our curiosity out of the way, on the devices tab, just make sure the devices you'd like to mine on are checked and the devices you don't want to mine on are unchecked. Head across to the dashboard and hit this button to start mining. At this point, it'll just start mining, and as you leave this going, you'll be earning money over time. Of course, the longer that you leave this running for a couple of hours, you'll eventually get a pretty accurate current profitability telling you exactly how much you'll earn per 24 hours, plus minus. I of course won't be running this as I've got a video to edit and I don't think I'll be mining Bitcoin at all. It is pretty profitable at this current point in time, but I have better places to be spending my time and processing power. Of course, for you, you can leave this going overnight and earn probably half of what you could earn in 24 hours if you leave it going for 12 hours and hit the run button every time you walk away, etc, etc. You can optimize it to micromanage and earn as much out of this as possible, or of course you could just leave it. With all of that aside, I'm not going to get into trading or actually pulling your money out of NiceHash or doing anything like that in this video. I do have $66 here from mining a couple of years ago, and eventually I'll be paid another 2 cents in the next 3 hours and 20 minutes from all of that hardcore mining I just completed. So with this quick crash course out of the way, now you know how to mine using NiceHash, and you could be earning yourself a couple of dollars every day if you were to leave your PC going if it has pretty good hardware. My hardware is pretty dated as is and won't be earning too much compared to newer hardware that's more power efficient and will generate me more income, but of course it is something if I wanted to run it and if I found a way to make it profitable depending on how much I spend on electricity. For a final note before I leave you at the end of this video, if you do choose to mine any currency, make sure that your hardware stays cool. I have a button on my case that I can switch on to make the fans run at a higher RPM, meaning it pushes more air in and out, cooling my hardware just a little bit more. That little bit may not be a huge amount, but it can be a couple of degrees Celsius, keeping my PC in a healthier position. Usually hardware that isn't overclocked will simply just slow itself down when it gets too hot, meaning that it generates less heat and eventually will keep itself below a certain threshold that the manufacturer has defined. If you choose to overclock, the only real dangerous thing is overvolting and blowing components, which is pretty unlikely unless you push it way too far. And the second thing is not monitoring the heat or managing it properly. If your components get too hot for too long, it does increase the wear and tear and eventually will degrade the performance of your processors, etc, etc. If you don't overclock, that's probably not going to be an issue for you, but heat will be the one thing that will kill your computer. So do keep it cold and don't neglect the fact that keeping it cool is way more important than how much noise it generates. So open your windows, put it in a cool room, and don't hide it underneath a desk or behind things where it can't breathe properly. If you have to, even set up a fan pointing at it and monitor the heat inside the NiceHash program. If you're currently in winter, that's great news for you. If you're like me and you live in Africa, summers do get pretty hot, so mining Bitcoin during the day can be something that's not too profitable because it would generate way too much heat, so it underclocks itself a huge amount, earning you a lot less. But of course, whatever your situation, if you can manage heat properly, you can earn quite a bit. Anyways, that's about it for this really long crash course guide. If you'd like to see more, do let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. My name's been TechNoba here for Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!